ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So Lord Kapila is further describing the result of sinful activities which one has performed while trying to maintain his family. For such a person who has, in order to gratify his senses, in order to maintain his family, without consulting the Vedic literature, one who has led irresponsible life, what will be the result of that? So it is said here, evam kutumbam bibhrana. Kutumba means family. So one who has thus committed different kinds of sinful activities in order to maintain his family. Kutumba bibhrana means to maintain his family. Udaram bhara evava, and to different kinds of necessities, to make arrangements for their different kinds of necessities. Udaram bhara evava means to fill their belly. Visrajji ehu abhayam pretya. So one, Prabhupada very nicely translates this. By sinful activities, one who has thus maintained his family, what will be the result? Visrijya. When he gives up this body in this material world, iha, in this material world, ubhayam pretya, both of them or all of them, his all family members whom he has maintained. Pretya means after death, bhunkte, he undergoes tat phalam, whatever he has committed, sinful activities, all his family members and he himself undergoes the suffering for whatever they have done. So this is very important, and Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that why people still commit sinful activities. Why do people commit sinful activities? So Prabhupada is saying the mistake of modern civilization is that man does not believe in the next life. So he is thinking nothing will happen. What is there? This is a philosophy. Even Charvak Muni propagated this understanding that this life is all in all. After that there is no more life. Why do you worry? Rinam kritva ghritam pibet yavat jivet sukham jivet भस्मी भूतस्य देहस्य कुतः पुनः आगमनो भवेत्। So Prabhupada says, Charvak Muni is saying, beg, borrow, steal does not matter. Enjoy your life to the fullest extent. Yavat jivet sukham jivet. But if somebody says, you stole, you are under debts from somebody, you took money from someone, you have taken loan from someone, you will have to repay those loans in the next life, you have to suffer in the next life. So he says, where is the question of suffering? Where is the question of next life? Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya. Once this body is burned to ash, kutah puna agmano bhaved. How he will come back? Body is gone, finished. How he is going to come back? So, this is the mistake of modern civilization, because of which people are committing sinful activities. So, devotees have to make people understand that this life is not all in all. It is not that once we die, everything is finished. See, this is a very important understanding which needs to be given to people. If people are aware that they will have to suffer for the actions they are performing, because of that understanding and knowledge, there is good possibility that they will give up their sinful activities. Now people are ignorant, they have no understanding. Just like, say for example, we all know that if I steal somebody's money, then I will be penalized by the criminal department. If I cheat someone, then there is criminal department. If I kill someone, then we know that I will be penalized. So because of this understanding, we don't commit sinful activities. We don't commit crime. Just like people know that if I break traffic rules, say for example, and when he is penalized, then he becomes careful. Okay, I should not do it again. But as far as life is concerned, people have no knowledge. Here they can see the government, here they can see that police is active and he is fined. But unfortunately, people have no faith that there is next life. But actually, if someone is little intelligent, he can understand that if there is no governance in nature, in this material world, then why is it that someone is suffering, someone is enjoying? Why is it that someone is born blind? Why is it that someone is having so many disabilities? Why is it that someone is very intelligent? Why it is that someone is very ugly? Right? So, sane man can actually understand that one is simply enjoying or suffering the results of his activities in the past life. So this is very important. Prabhupada explains this in Bhagavatam. This is explained by, when this question was asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Shukdev Goswami, why do people commit sinful activities? What makes them to commit sinful activities? So, even in Bhagavad Gita, we understand, it is explained, one commits sinful activities out of ignorance. And sometimes one commits sinful activities even though he knows that this is sinful. He has understanding, he has knowledge. But still he commits sinful activities because of influence of modes of material nature. Especially when one is influenced by modes of Rajoguna and Tamoguna, then even though one knows, he commits sinful activities. Just like it is not that people who are robbing somebody's money or killing someone, it is not that they do not know. They know very well. If I am caught, I will be punished. He knows that. But still, they are forced to commit sinful activities because of influence of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Later on, sometimes they may repent. Say for example, because of Tamoguna or the modes of Rajoguna, one becomes very angry. And in anger, he loses his intelligence. He cannot discriminate. When one becomes lusty, he loses his intelligence. He cannot discriminate. This should be done or this should not be done. So then they commit sinful activities and then they may repent. It should not have been done. So that means he is aware that this is sinful activity. It's like sometimes devotee will also be aware that I should not break regulatory principles. But then the force of material nature is so, the influence of Rajoguna and Tamoguna, that even after knowing, he may break. So, then Parikshit Maharaj asked this question. How one can get rid of this? So then Shukdev Goswami gives him 3 processes which are prescribed in the Vedic literatures. One is called the process of atonement. That one should atone for whatever sinful activities one has done. There is a process, it's given in the Vedic literatures, that if one commits a sinful activity like this, as an atonement, he should do this, he should do this. So Parikshit Maharaj was very intelligent. He could understand that this will not solve the problem. It's not that once we atone, then after that no more sinful activity we will commit. So Parikshit Maharaj calls this process as Hasti Snan. It is Naraha kunjara shauchavat. It is like an elephant taking a bath. Elephant goes and takes a very nice bath, but after it comes out of the water, it again becomes dirty. It takes mud bath. Similarly, by process of atonement, it does not solve the problem of committing sinful activity. You have done something and then you atone for it, but does it guarantee you will not commit any more sinful activity? Still you will commit. Isn't it? So Prabhupada gives the example, it is just like in the Christian community generally, they go to the church and they atone that I have done this sinful activity, my dear Lord, please forgive me. The Lord will forgive, there is no doubt. But how many times? Isn't it? So God has not taken a contract that every time you commit sinful activity and then you come and atone for it. Accidentally one has fallen down is different. But if once it becomes an habit that I will commit sinful activity and then I will go and I will atone for it, I will be free. So now I am pure, again I can commit, again I will go. Isn't it? Actually that is considered to be more sinful. Namano balad yasya hi papa buddhi. One who commits sinful activity on the strength of the holy name of the Lord is very sinful. It's a great offense. So, then Shukdev Goswami says, he gives the process of cultivating knowledge. And he says, one commits sinful activities out of ignorance. And if ignorance is removed, then automatically he will stop committing sinful activities. So, Parikshit Maharaj, he replies by saying that actually, even this process of cultivation of knowledge does not guarantee that one will not commit sinful activities once again. He gives an example. He says, by the fire of knowledge, one can burn all the sinful reactions to ash, but the seed remains. So he gives an example. If there is a forest and you burn it, then yes, it looks like everything is finished, vanquished, gone. But then, the moment once again there is rain, because those seeds are still there in the ground, once again they will flourish. And once again there will be jungle. And that's how we find that people, it's not that people are not aware, but those seeds of sinful desires are there, and the moment there is opportunity, when there is no opportunity and we are aware that yes, this is sinful, then we don't commit. But when there is opportunity, even though we know I am doing something wrong, but still we commit. So it's not true that just by knowledge one can overcome doing sinful activities. But yes, knowledge is very important because the root cause of doing sinful activities is ignorance. So then Shukdev Goswami gives him the third process And he says that awakening of Krishna consciousness, awakening of devotional service, it is like rising of the sun. Niharam iva bhaskaraha. So he says, so Prabhupada there explains that it does not even require the sun to shine like in the afternoon, which is very, very intense. Even the mild sunshine can completely dissipate the darkness, the fog of ignorance, the darkness of ignorance. That is why it is said, Krishna hai Surya sama, Maya hai andhakar. Jahan hai Krishna tahar nahi, Maya radhikar. So, the most important process actually to get rid of sinful life is awakening of our original Krishna consciousness. Originally, we are all pure, being part and parcel of Krishna. But because now, in the present life, we have forgotten our relationship with the Supreme Lord. Acting independently, we have come to this material world. And in this material world, in order to enjoy our senses, we are committing so many sinful activities. That's why Prahlad Maharaj says, because they are pramatta kurute vikarma. They have become maddened after sense enjoyment, and because of that they commit sinful activities. So this is the reason. So I was just reading in Bhagavatam the story of King Puranjana, which Narad Muni is explaining to King Prachin Barhi in order to make him understand the sinful activities he was performing in the name of sacrifices. So King Prachin Barhi, his sons Prachetas were already delivered by Narad Muni, by his mercy. They were not into these even Karmakandiya portions of Vedic literature. So, in order to enjoy his senses, Narad Muni showed to King Prachin Barhi how the animals he has killed in the sacrifices, because there is no guarantee that every sacrifice he has performed is performed properly. Even if there is little discrepancy, the animal sacrifice may not get a human life. And then he awaits punishment because of that. So Narad Muni very mercifully showed him that how so many animals whom he has killed, they are all awaiting him to die. And then all of them will take revenge of their death. So, in order to illustrate this, he tells him a story, imaginary story. So, this story is about King Puranjan. So, while explaining this story, he comes to one point where he explains. So, in the beginning, he explains that King Puranjan was looking out everywhere, different places where he can get satisfied, where he can get happiness. He went everywhere. He was dissatisfied. So Prabhupada explains this is the nature of this material world. The living entity, Puranjan, is one. Pura means city. It also means this body. One who is residing in the body, the soul, the Atma, that is Puranjan. So every living entity is Puranjan in this material world. because we are all residing in this kingdom of this body and trying to enjoy this body. So first he tried everywhere. He was not satisfied, could not get real satisfaction, happiness. Finally, when he went to a certain part near the Himalayas, he was little pacified, he was little satisfied. There he saw one city which had 9 gates. So the Vedic literature explains that actually only in this human form of life, and that too, if one is born in Bharatavarsha, that place which Puranjana occupied was Bharatavarsha. So only in the land, on the tract of land of Bharatavarsha, actually the living entity gets an opportunity that he can come out of this cycle of birth and death. So he was little pacified and he started living in this body, or he started living in that city with 9 gates. So the 9 gates are the 9 holes in our body. So Prabhupada explains very nicely that even in the earlier time, even till today, if you go to many places, every city has gates. Delhi, let me see if how many of you know, there are many gates in Delhi. Anyone remembers any gates in Delhi? Anyone has heard about Kashmiri Gate? Anyone has heard of it? If you go to railway station, New Delhi railway station, there are 2 different places. One is called Kashmiri Gate. There are other places, Lahori Gate, Ajmeri Gate. So if you want to go to Kashmir, you should pass through that gate. Lahori Gate is now closed because you cannot go to Lahore. Lahore is in Pakistan now. So that gate is permanently closed now. Otherwise there was a gate. When Pakistan was a part of India, there was a Lahori Gate. From Delhi, if you wanted to go to Lahore, you should pass through that gate. Ajmeri Gate. If you go through that gate, you will go to Ajmer. So likewise, we have 9 gates in this body. Eye gate, nose gate, mouth gate, ears gate, genital gates, rectum gate. Totally 9 gates are there. And through this, just like you go to different gate and enjoy there, similarly the living entity utilizes these gates in order to enjoy his senses. You see. So through the eyes we enjoy sense objects of form. Through ears we enjoy shabda, like that. Different varieties of enjoyments we get. And then in this city, he saw one beautiful young woman roaming around, lonely, alone. And he was captivated by the beauty of this woman. So Narada later on explains this woman is nothing but intelligence, buddhi. So the Atma has now become captured in this body of 9 gates, and then he has become captivated by his intelligence. He has given all the powers to the intelligence, contaminated intelligence, not pure intelligence. And with this contaminated intelligence, so with that woman was followed by many servants, and those servants are the senses, mind and the senses. So with that woman, that means his intelligence and his mind and senses, he began to explore this city. And he used to go out of these gates to different places to enjoy. So this is how the living entity becomes entangled in this material world. using his material intelligence, his senses, his mind, varieties of activities he performs. Then, one day, Narad Muni explains, even though he was very attached to his wife, Narad Muni is explaining how he was attached. When the wife is eating, he will also eat. Wife is going to sleep, he also goes to sleep. Wife is crying, he is also crying. Wife is laughing, he is also laughing. That means he has become a puppet in the hand of his wife. Similarly, we have lost our real intelligence and we have become subservient or servant of our polluted intelligence. Whatever our mind and our intelligence is saying, simply we are doing that. Mind is telling you cry. Prabhupada is giving the example, it is just like monkey who is trained just to act on the master's word. If the master tells, Nach Bandar Nach, and then he is dancing nicely. Okay, sometime I do not know if you have seen, at least in villages, this is very common. They will train a monkey, the monkey is getting married, and that she monkey will put one pallu on the head, and he is directing everything. And the monkey has to do whatever the master says, otherwise he has a stick in his hand. He knows, that monkey knows, I will be beaten up otherwise. So likewise, we have become servant of our mind, intelligence and senses. So then Narad Muni explains suddenly what happened. He wanted to do one adventure. He wanted to go for an adventure. He took one ratha, sat on one chariot which had 2 wheels, and all it is described very nicely. It had 5 horses, and then followed with his commanders. Now he is proceeding. He goes to hunt animals in the forest. So there Narad Muni explains, even though he was very attached to his wife, he could not live without his wife even for a moment. But to do this adventure, because of the desire to commit some sinful activity, he gave up even association of his wife. And he went hunting. And there, when he went hunting, his heart was like stone. He killed so many living entities unnecessarily. And then killing. Finally, he was fatigued. He became very tired. And being fatigued, he gave up that work. Enough, he said. And then, again he took back his chariot and started proceeding back to his palace. Now he was very hungry, very thirsty. And when he went back to his palace, there first thing he did, he took a very refreshing bath. And he felt as if life has come back. He was very fatigued, very tired. So generally we know when you are very tired, very fatigued, you just go and take a nice bath. Immediately you feel refreshed. So he started feeling very refreshed. Then Uchita Ahara, he took, food which was appropriate, which gave him life and energy. He drank some water and then he took some rest, and after taking rest, he felt refreshed. Sometimes devotees, when they go out of station, Prabhu, 5 hours, 6 hours I have travelled, isn't it? You come home, you take bath, you take nice prasadam, because when you're travelling, you're not able to get proper food, all those things. You come back, nice bath you take nice prasadam, and then next day Mangalarati we are not able to come. you take nice rest, and then you feel refreshed. So Narad Muni later explains this very nicely. He says, this going for hunting of King Puranjan, it is compared to two things. One is person hunting after material pleasure. Specifically, hunting after money. So, Prabhupada in the purport explains, in today's modern times, Monday to Friday, weekdays, people work so hard for gathering money. And then in the weekend, they want to relax. They want to go to some secluded place. They want to have shanti. Isn't it? How Prabhupada describes this. Puranjan's, he was involved in killing, sense enjoyment, and then he becomes fatigued, and then he wants to relax. Another very beautiful explanation which Narad Muni gives further later on is that like Puranjan, the living entity being influenced by the modes of material nature, three gunas, he becomes dushkriti. So we all know there are dushkriti and sukriti. So when we are influenced by lower modes, rajoguna and tamoguna, lust and greed, then like Puranjan, we commit so many sinful activities, influenced by lust and greed. And then sometimes you will find our inner consciousness speaks to us that you are doing wrong, you are doing nonsense, stop this, isn't it? You will find sometimes you're engaged in committing sinful activities, but Prabhupada says your inner consciousness sometimes tells you to stop that. When you become fatigued by performing sinful activities. So one may give up sinful activities at that time, but that is temporary. So there Prabhupada explains very nicely, which will be explained later by Narad Muni. Prabhupada is explaining. His King's Puranjan coming back to his palace, taking a refreshing bath, is compared to one after fatigue from this material sense enjoyment, giving up that process and somehow or other taking instructions from a bona fide spiritual master. And one becomes refreshed. One becomes refreshed from this sinful life, from this life of sense gratification, by receiving instructions from the spiritual master. So it is just like by taking a bath, right? So by taking bath in the words spoken by pure devotees of the Lord, one can become refreshed from his sinful life. And then Prabhupada explains he took uchita ahara. Similarly, the spiritual master advises his disciples that one should refrain from meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, all these things. He should take sattvic ahara offered to the Lord. That is called uchita ahara. And actually, Bhagavad Gita explains that this kind of food, it increases longevity. That means it increases our age. It increases our arogya, health. whether it is the bodily health or the mental health. And it is very, very pleasing to the heart. It is very pleasing to the mind, this kind of food. It increases satisfaction. It increases happiness in the life. That is the kind of food. So, after that, the king, again, when he was refreshed, then what did he do? He, full of his body, he applied chandan, sandalwood paste, and then he wore one garland, and he decorated his body with different ornaments, and then he felt still more refreshed. Correct. You take a nice bath, your hunger you satisfy with nice food, everything, and then after that you apply sandalwood paste, your body will become cooled. Whatever your body was completely fatigued and it was burnt because of so much of endeavor, you will get so much of relief. So, there Narad Muni explains, this is called Sadhu Bhushanam. When the living entity becomes decorated with godly qualities because of following the instructions of the spiritual master, then he becomes fully refreshed. Then he becomes fully refreshed. And then, further what happens? This King Puranjan, now he has become refreshed, but his mind is overtaken with lust. And then he is searching after his wife to satisfy his desires. So there Narad Muni explains that even though sometime one is initiated in Krishna consciousness and one is taking appropriate meal also, he has taken to Satvik Ahar, he is following the regulative principles. But if he does not follow the rules and regulation given by the great acharyas, there will be impediment in his devotional service and he will become subjected to lust and greed. So there Prabhupada explains, Brahmachari will again become lusty. Vanaprastha, the wife and husband who have thought now we will retire and we will devote our life to Krishna consciousness, may again become indulged in family life once again. Sannyasi may start looking for other women. This will be the result. And there Prabhupada explains, that is why Rupa Goswami has explained, even in devotional service, Atyahara you should avoid. Prajalpa you should avoid. So there Prabhupada talks about 6 things should be avoided. Overeating, over collecting of money for grahasthas, overindulgence in hard labor, atyahara prayasa, prajalpa, niyamagraha, not following rules and regulation or following them without understanding the spirit, janasanga, associating with materially minded people, lolyam and greed. These things one should avoid. Then one can raise his Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, even after taking initiation, one can fall down into sinful activities. So, we have to be very alert of what the Vedic literatures are talking about. And so, we'll stop with this. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.